past months about the Russian meddling in our election, there's one question that rarely gets asked and answered. Does the United States do the same thing to influence other countries to have a pro-American result? And if so, with what rate of success? Joining me now is Dov Levin. He's a postdoctoral fellow in the Institute for Politics and Strategy at Carnegie Mellon University. He has studied this issue. Dr. Levin, first of all, what do you bring to the table in terms of bias? Are you looking at this with a jaundiced eye, or are you just trying to determine what has taken place?
Well, I come from a social science perspective. I began studying this long before this issue became, daily news issue, and I'm trying to learn what are the facts in this regard and provide them to decision makers and to the general public.
Okay, I just didn't want people to think that you come with a preconceived bias. Tell me about your research. Summarize briefly what you did and what you found.
Well, I study partisan electoral interventions, in other words, situations when great powers intervene in elections in other countries in an attempt to determine the election result. And I find when it comes to the case of the United States, that the United States intervened in 81 elections of this, in 81 elections in this manner in 47 countries for this purpose between 1946 and 2000.
Give me an example.
Well, one example of such intervention occurred in Italy in 1948, where the United States was worried about the possibility of the Communist Party winning the election there. So we basically did everything, including throwing the kitchen sink in order to prevent it from winning the election. Everything from increasing our aid to the Italian government, to threatening that all aid to Italy would be cut off in case that the Communist Party would win, to giving very large amounts of covert campaign funding to the Christian Democratic Party, to designing campaign materials for the Christian Democrats and other techniques.
You say that 81 times in 60 countries between 1946, let's put this up on the screen, I think we've got a list, 1946 and the year 2000, the U.S. has sought to influence the outcome of an election. By the way, are we good at this? Are we successful?
Well, my research finds that basically on average, the side that we assist gets a bump of about 3% to their vote share, but that is an average effect. In other words, sometimes the effect is much larger and sometimes it is much less, so to speak.
Your research ended in the year 2000, the birth really of the internet age and era. Have we ever done what the Russians are? Have we ever hacked?
We did not use computer hacking, no.
In each of these instances, because this has quite a negative connotation to hear that some will take away from this, well, the U.S. has done it too. Has it always been in the name of democracy? Have we always sought to oppose communism? Have we always sought to oppose a theology governing a nation's politics? I mean, what's the common denominator that has guided the United States?
Well, of course, sometimes we assisted, pro-democracy candidates. Sometimes, of course, we assisted sometimes we, of course, assisted, authoritarian-minded and corrupt candidates. It varied from case to case and from situation to situation.
Right. Authoritarian, though, in opposition to who or to what? I take it we went with the authoritarian, less a nation should be ruled by a communist. Is that the kind of a devil's choice that the United States had to make?
That was many times the case during the Cold War. Yes, that was frequently our situation, yeah.
Are our efforts, have they been covert or overt? And if your answer is both, which is more effective?
Well, basically, I find that about 2/3 of these type of things were covert and about 1/3 were overt. And I find that the overt were usually the more effective than the covert in this regard.
The overt is more effective, meaning we openly are supportive of one candidate or party over the others. We make our financial support known. That has a better track record than trying to do it, as some would say, on the down low.
Exactly.
It's a fascinating analysis. I leave to the Facebook posts and the tweeters whether there's any kind of a moral equivalence here. Dov Levin, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Keep your tweets coming, more like this, and Facebook posts. What do we have? Smirkanish, you are so carrying Putin and Trump's water, saying U.S. meddles in election after the Russians. It's unbelievable. Sandra, listen to me. Watch the whole show. Okay? Don't pick and choose. Watch the whole show. And then tell me what you think. I'm carrying Trump's water. Were you not watching Roger Waters, the interview that I did in the segment that we just broadcast, where the most successful and controversial concert tour of the summer season is all predicated, not all predicated, largely predicated on an anti-Trump diatribe? And I had a conversation with that artist. And now I'm carrying Trump's water. Give me another one. I'm carrying nobody's water but my own, which is independent thinking. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, stuck in the middle. I think you mean middle. Sorry, Mike, I couldn't help myself. Yeah, Steve, love it. Steelers Wheel. It's the theme song of my Sirius XM program, and that is how I feel. Clowns to the left of me and jokers to the right. Got to keep moving. Still to come, your best and worst tweets. Please stay with us.